This video is sponsored by Bityard. With over 400 cryptocurrencies to choose from on their spot exchange, dozens of USDT pairs for futures trading, perpetual coin futures, trade commodities like gold, silver and oil, Forex, and major indices like Nasdaq. You can buy crypto from Bityard with over 50 different fiat currencies using Visa, MasterCard, Google or Apple Pay. If you like, you can use their copy trade facility, follow other traders who will execute trades on your behalf, or become a copy trader yourself. So if you want a bit of that, click the link in the description. Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to look at Jasmy, right? And I've decided, amongst myself, my shadow, and my reflection, we were all having a chat about Jasmy this morning. Same as when I started this channel and I was trading, I suppose publicly and talking about my trades. Matic was like a permanent fixture on this channel. I talked about Matic several times a week. It was like my favourite coin, and for the most part it was trading between 1 and 2 cents, right? And there was this holy grail that we were going to reach at some point, $1, and that was always our first major target. But in amongst all of that, it was pretty tradable. It wasn't unheard of to have done like a 1 to a 4x quite easily, outside of the general moves of the market. So Bitcoin could be going down. It had done this in the past. Bitcoin was in a major consolidation, and Matic had got into an uptrend of its own. It did a 4x. So we did that a few times, and it was a great time to be in crypto back then. Where the total market cap for crypto itself wasn't massive, and so we were able to make some serious cash easier because you get bigger, greener candles with a smaller market cap in general. Now everybody really wants a piece of crypto. It's become something of a bit more of a I wouldn't say, I don't know how to say it really, but it's more popular now than it ever was, and so market cap is a lot bigger now. For the most part, the overall market cap of crypto when we started this channel in the beginning of the bull market, 2019 into 20. It was less than $500 billion. It peaked at 3 trillion, and then overnight, over a couple of weeks, last summer, it dumped from 3 trillion to I think about 1.4 trillion. So market caps, they're not irrelevant, but unlike traditional markets, market caps can just disappear really quickly, right? And this is something I wanted to bring up about this. So Matic was a very small market cap back then, so it was easier to imagine that to yield 100x or more, which it did, because it was way small. It was tiny. Crypto was tiny back then. The market cap of Matic now is huge, and the crypto market cap is way bigger than it generally was throughout the majority of its of the bull market. But Jasmy's market cap is about 130 million, which is modest. It's quite big, but it doesn't mean that it can't do big moves from here. Market caps for crypto, just like we saw in the total market cap, can go up enormously and then just poof and disappear overnight. So to focus on something just based on its market cap is not particularly the best way to do it, although for small cap coins with good projections, good fundamentals and good charts, obviously that's where really big gains can be made. So this isn't a small cap by any means, but it's definitely, in my opinion, got a lot further to go. Now before we go into the details of the chart, which again is quite nice actually, I just want a little disclaimer. I am obviously not a financial advisor. I'm speaking about buying this as an investment over a period of about 1 to maybe even 3 years to yield what could be up to or beyond a 100x, right? So think about that realistically. I'm saying I'm buying now. I bought a few days ago. I'll buy lower as well if it came down to this level down here. I'd probably put in twice as much as I've already put in if it came down to those levels. And my goal would be between 1 and 3 years down the line. I could probably look at trading this throughout that period, and I certainly would be getting out early with a look to be getting back in if we got sort of bubble pop vibes, similar to the way it's looked on the weekly. And this is an obvious time to get out of any trade. Money flow index shot all the way up to 99, which is ridiculous. And obviously since then, we'll have to zoom in a little bit further, but since that where was it? It was here, wasn't it? Since we had that bubble pop read, which again is definitely what it is, it did retrace to a modest 96%. So there's reasons why you would want to get out of this early, and they're the same as with the reasons we'd get out of any coin early. And it wouldn't be to get out forever, it would be get out and get back in at a reasonable level in the event that we did retrace again by another 96% or something like that. So I'm not saying that you can hold this blindly, But if there's one thing that we were taught from Matic, which is that, yeah, it's good to make, you know, several trades, you know, on something, and make, you know, a couple of X's here and there throughout a few years. I mean, that's good trading. But the last laugh was on the hodl bag, you know, the cold wallet of Matic. You know, that the last laugh was had there, and all of these entry points that we were, you know, scratching around at the bottom of the barrel for, you know, which obviously are good as well, were irrelevant. And it's that phrase that I like to quote these days, which is timing the market is not as good as time in the market. And so this is why I'm focusing on time in the market when it comes to Jasmy, because I think that's going to be the most important component to getting the biggest reward out of this. And also, less capital gains nonsense. You know, I hate filing all my trades. It's just something you know, I know it's easy enough, but the easiest ones are the ones that you've held for a long time, and then just, you know, one buy, one sell, done and dusted. There you go. Take that to your accountant and walk away without the stress. So yeah, this I am looking to effectively have one major trade, which is my entry point, which is already, and my exit point, which could be close to, if not beyond, you know, its all-time high, which again is going to yield over a 10x, isn't it? Really, I mean, over 100x. That's not. I mean, this is just a crude measurement, but even from beyond where we're looking to go, that's a 10x already. And I'm only measuring it to the candle bodies. Who knows where it could go? So again, don't try and get too clever on this one, and be prepared for crazy volatility, up, down, sideways. The only way it's not going to go is left. So let's have a look at the chart now for the short term. And remember, timing the market is not as good as time in the market, and I think that's probably going to be the most relevant phrase you could say for Jasmy. Also, on top of this, yeah, before I start on the chart, I have looked into it because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't an absolute scam coin, because that's always been a little problem with crypto. You just don't know if something's genuine or not. And actually, just, you know, while looking into it, it's not that I'm like blown away by the fundamentals. It's more about the validity of the people who created it. There is a use case. It's all about data silos and things like that, which is obviously, you know, there's a place for that. It's created over in Japan, and if there's one thing to say about the Japanese, is that they are generally a highly efficient group of people, and this is their first major, I suppose, foot through the door of crypto, and it looks like they are pretty serious about it. So, despite what the fundamentals mean, it's more about, you know, the credentials of who created it. Because obviously, when you look at a chart that looks so absolutely awful, you do have to question. You do have to question its legitimacy. So I'm okay with what it stands for, what it is, the utility of it, and who created it, and what their future plans are for it, which is effectively like a blockchain business, really, for data management. And so let's have a look at the chart then, shall we? So as you can see here, we're trying to claw our way out of this low, which is a nice round number of a single cent. You see this all the time in crypto. People love round numbers. People trade round numbers because we're simple beings that learn to count on our hands, and so we like round numbers, especially ones and fives and tens, because we've been doing that since we were monkeys, you know. Apparently, if you count in 12s, it's meant to be more efficient, but you know, I've only got 10 fingers, so I'm with all of you. And so we look at these round numbers and go, oh, that'll do nicely, it's a 1 cent, and everybody's got their buy order in at a cent, and that seems to have worked out well. But if we look at the actual trading chart itself, we've got a 10 exponential here, which has proven to be our major resistance. We do have a consolidation trend line to which we've broken out, and we are toying with the idea of coming up to, if not being front run, from that 3 cent zone already. So that is a major resistance already, 3 cent. If we go to the daily, we can see that above that, below that, right this very moment in time as we speak, we've got the 50 exponential moving average. That is at about 2.7 cent, and then nothing beyond there. So I'd say between 2.7 and 3 cent is the main area of resistance. Breaking above there could actually do a decent move from that point forward, maybe pushing all the way up to around 7. But if we look at the Binance chart, which again is obviously is the same, but it's a little less. We don't have any of these moving averages, so we're gonna actually use the Gate.io chart because it's available on Gate.io. It has been for a while. Not that it would have been a great idea to be buying it at its all-time high or its inception, but buying it down here, in my opinion, actually does have some appealing aspects. So if we go to the 4 hourly, we can see we're above the 200 exponential. Again, it's been there before. This is a bit of a FOMO rally. This is the first time we kind of had a bit of a bounce of it. You can see that the 50 exponential held it. This is good because this could lead into a golden cross somewhere down the line. So a formation of bullish nature. And again, being outside of the major level of consolidation after this move here, which again wasn't as nothing move. This is quite a big one over here of 350. So it is giving me that matic kind of feel. All right, so that is most likely the peak for a little while, in my opinion. Like, as much as I want to see it move up, I think that this could be the peak for a little while, and we basically spend a bit of time chopping around this area, and maybe even going back down before we go back up. I'm not particularly sold on the way that this is going to move in the very short term time frame, although my entry point was effectively around the 2.2 cent. So like I say, timing the market, not as good as timing the market, and I think that is going to be the ultimate phrase for Jasmine. So at the moment, being above that 200 exponential does, is relevant. It definitely is relevant, and if we think about the momentum that's picking up pace, it does toy with the idea of moving up to those particular resistances between 2.7 and 3 cent. But that is a strong resistance, and that could just form a lower high, which then could go on to form a lower low. There is an intermediate area where you could think about picking some up, and that would be at that bit of support there, which effectively could have been seen as a short-term pit stop before launching on. So it is early days. I can't stress enough that this is probably going to be volatile and crazy, but also outside of that, I think it could be a decent diversifier as well. And as far as an investment is concerned, is probably the best way to view this, rather than trying to get clever and trying to trade it all the time. I think an investment, at this kind of level, is reasonably okay when you think about the projection that I see it going, which is to effectively start a significant uptrend and gain more popularity and realize fundamentals down the line. I think Jasmine probably has one of the better, high risk, high reward opportunities in crypto. Again, it's available across all these exchanges. You can see, all the major exchanges. You've got Binance, Bitfinex, Bybit, Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Crypto.com. Everyone's got it, including our very own sponsor, Bityard. It's all there. Everybody's got it. It's available for all to play, and I think the good thing about these diversifiers, when on even just like days today, we've got a 12% move on it today, and the rest of the market is effectively sideways, static, and not looking particularly interesting. These sort of things do gain attraction just by default. What are the biggest performers of today? Oh, Jasmine's doing it again. Jasmine. It sticks in people's heads. And that's what happened with Matic. That's what happens with a few coins out there, including things like SHIB and Doge. And they end up on people's radar, and before long they are tradable charts. At the moment, I wouldn't really call it a tradable chart because it looks so awful, but there is opportunity in this, and I think the opportunity lays in the long term. And I'm very much in favour of holding this one to either reach that bubble pop on a weekly, or just to continue on until we reach our first major target, which I'm not joking, I am going to be targeting areas of around $2 on this one. Sounds ridiculous, and I'll be looking forward to the hatred which will flood onto the comments, which I do enjoy. It's all good for the algorithm anyway, so feel free to hate me or love me, or just have your bots try and shill me. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there, guys. So Jasmine for the win. We're looking at this probably on a weekly basis, and if you do decide to enter into it, don't blame me if it doesn't work out, alright? But if it does work out, praise me, alright? I want my cake and I want to eat it, okay? Right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.